Film club.
What have you got planned for the week?
For the week? Tomorrow I have to take my students over to a Women's Day thing.
Thank you very much for joining us for one more round.
It gets
Thank
better.
you for the 22nd episode of Film Club, where Andy tells us about his Women's Day.
It gets better. I'm probably going to be the only guy at the entire event.
Why?
With the Women's Day thing, it's about women in media. It's about our female students going. And then it just so happens that I'm like one of the only people that can take them over, so I'm taking them. We actually emailed them to check that I'm okay to take them to this Women's Day thing.
Wow. This episode, we're doing a very male-orientated film called Top Gun.
What a brilliantly ironic way of opening this. So, as normal, every single week in Film Club, we invite you guys along to watch a film with us. I'm one of your hosts, Andy Harrison. To my right, as always, is Andy Donaldson.
Hi. So,
Top Gun.
We'll just go out there. It's not really a woman's kind of film, so why did you choose this episode considering tomorrow? Considering tomorrow.
I didn't consider tomorrow.
Yeah, you did. You must have.
I didn't. In fact, Top Gun, I don't think it was even my choice, is it?
We kind of went through films. We were struggling. We weren't going through films, and we're like, which ones? Like, we always seem to really like films, so we're trying to find ones. I'm not a huge fan of old films. Well, the odd exception.
Kind of thought we'd take something which challenged our expectation because I went into this. I don't know you. I went into this not expecting to like it.
Yeah. So, which brings us to Top Gun. It's a film about the top 1% of the American Air Force. Or I wouldn't say Air Force as such. I'll say fighter pilots. Because I think it's a culmination of. Good fact for you. So the biggest Air Force in the world is the American Air Force. The second biggest Air Force in the world is the American Navy.
That's weird.
That's how big their military power is.
So weird. So
it's about the top 1%, and it's essentially a film about like how Tom Cruise, Maverick, the leading guy, it's him vying for that top spot. It's like they go to a. It's just a film about aviation, really, isn't it? And like the top class.
About aviation, yeah. It's him getting a place in the Top Gun program. And then once he's there, trying to become the best.
The Top Gun.
The Top Gun, the top of the Top Guns.
What do you think?
What a mixed bag of a film. Like a real mixed bag. It's like someone threw in all these different elements, shook it up, and then just kind of projected it at the screen. Interestingly, first thing comes up, I was like, holy shit, Tony Scott directed this film?
I know, I thought that as well.
I did not realise this was directed by Tony Scott.
The only one I can think of, the main one, is the one with the train, Stoppable, which is all right, actually.
Train spotting. Trains, planes, and automobiles.
Yeah, it was a really unexpectedly. I quite liked it, but my only problem is I'm biased. So,
of course, you love
I love military aviation. I love aviation, but I love military aviation.
You love the word aviation.
I do indeed. Some fun facts for you. We'll jump straight into trivia time.
Oh, early trivia time this week. I like it. Go on.
They used F-14 Tomcats in the film.
What is an F-14 Tomcat?
It's a jet fighter from the 80s. It's when this film was made in 86, so it's around the 80s, maybe 70s, Cold War era. That's why there's like one-on-ones with what were called MiG-28s. So one of the fun facts is, well, it's probably the main one. The MiG-28s are actually a fictional aircraft. It's the MiG-29, which is the big Cold War airplane, the jet fighter superplane. And then you had the F-14 Tomcat. I think you had F-15s, I'm sure. Ben will know, my older brother, he'll know. And then obviously you have the F-16s, it's just like the pride and might of the US Air Force. Then you've got the F-22 Raptors, and you've got the new ones, which the British aircraft carriers have, the Prince of Wales and the bigger one, the Queen Elizabeth, our flagship aircraft carrier coming in 3 years' time, or 2 or 3 years' time. The F-35 Lockheed Lightning II.
You are such a nerd.
Mate, I love aircraft. It's really cool. So they have a fictional MiG, and it's actually turned out to be an F5 that's been repainted. It was. I tell you what I really loved about this film. Just go straight into that as well.
The planes.
It's the fact that there are some amazing shots of the planes, from in the sunset where the planes are going around like that to the camera being on the aircraft inside the cockpit. I believe by the credits at the end of the film, they worked alongside the Navy and even some Russian aircraft suppliers to film these planes there. You see quite a few aircraft films here and there. Recent one was it called Red Tails? With the there's some really good.
How recent is recent?
It's after 2010.
Okay.
Or maybe 2009, and I dare say this is the best aircraft film I've seen.
That's interesting.
Because I'm trying to think of some others, so you'll have to wait up to that. But just to see those shots of the planes and shooting, like it is literally a dogfight. Like you go to having a few air shows, and I see how like the F-16s that were always there. They go around and the way they're banking left, banking right, like hard bank, even to the point where there's that manoeuvre that Tom Cruise Maverick does at the start of the film where he's got someone behind him and he goes like that and goes behind. That's a common manoeuvre, I believe. But it's something you see a lot of these air shows like Fairford and stuff like that. And I don't know, it was just fantastic. I don't know, something about, especially military aircraft, I just love it. There's many things about this film that I quite liked, and a couple of things I didn't like as well. Why is it mixed bag for you? Like, what were your good things?
I'll start with that, right? Because let's start with the fact that the shots of like all the scenes they construct with the planes and the dogfighting and them like trying to have this aerial combat. It's like it's half shot beautifully. Like a lot of this film is like this kind of beautiful sun-drenched Miami feeling.
Yeah.
Like sometimes it goes a little far, but like it's kind of 80s cheese. But I can give it I get what they're going for. Very heavy, like on those orange filters, like those grad filters and stuff.
Yeah.
But then the stuff in the air, half of it's, you're right, it's brilliant. And like I love stuff where it's like shot from the cockpit. It's like on the plane. It's like they've obviously flown another plane alongside the others, like while they're getting shots.
Even the motorbike scene as well, they've done that.
Yeah, even all that stuff
class.
Works and it brings you into the action. Then you have the stuff where it's like they're trying to shoot a plane on the really long end of a lens, and like they're trying to track it. And it's like there's times this film to me started to feel like someone had took footage of like them all on the ground and intercut some stock footage with it.
Really?
And it was almost like they had the plane doing a particular maneuver, so they showed the maneuver, and then they wrote the script around it afterwards.
Oh, right, that's quite interesting.
Like I think maybe I think you're right. This might be some of the best aerial footage in terms of shooting aerial maneuvers and combat and planes and stuff. It is some of the best. Maybe that's the thing. Maybe planes are very, very difficult to shoot and tell a story with at the same time because it's expensive. Like you watch this film, you're like, oh my god, how much did it cost you,
especially in the 86,
to have those planes for this amount of time and to do all this stuff with?
Do you reckon it might have been like a little bit promotional for the US Air Force and like to show their planes and what they're capable of? Because he did say at the end, so it might have been like Tony Scott saying, if you help partially sponsor us by helping us out, we'll give you a big nod to the American war machine.
I don't know. It'd be rare for the American government to get involved like that with the film.
It's weird, yeah. But it's just a thought. Just a thought. I haven't even started, man.
You don't need to.
So they've got that part of the film, which is what I really love about it. What about the whole part about the person himself, Maverick, like the building of the character? I don't really tend to grow to love him at all like this. The one I really like is Goose.
Yeah.
You build an emotional attachment, and Sonny, sorry mate, play foot to you. You build this emotional attachment, then he passes away, then he's got his wife and stuff like that. Again, going back to the whole cliched thing, I was thinking, does he die? I know this is quite a
I
job, and
totally got that.
Does he have to die? You kind of like you come out like, for me it was like being in an air show for the majority of the film, but then there's little snippets like that where I was just thinking it could be wrote a little bit better. For example, like him passing away, then suddenly he's Tom Cruise is eyed up, and then Meg Ryan, by the way, a fucking third film for Meg Ryan before she got massive, stunning. God, Meg Ryan class. But she's like, she's sad and stuff, and it's just like all that kind of the cliche action films, the one you grow attached to passes away. And
I know what you mean, but I still think that's what was the most effective part of the film is when he dies. Because it kind of comes out of left field if you don't know what's going to happen.
I don't know. I saw that coming.
Did you?
For the whole film, the attachment to Goose, I'll never leave you, and all this. There was all this so much build up to him.
Actually, you're right. If you look back, it probably is all signposted there.
Even when he sat down, he's just like, I saw Megan, and Goose goes, no, we. It's just like, you can tell he's been by himself.
That's a very good point. I'm being very thick by not noticing that.
I don't know.
I love, by the way, like the kind of the laughing point about this, but the gag is always it's massively homoerotic film.
Someone said this earlier,
and like I'd heard that without before seeing the film. I was like, no, people are making a joke of it. It's not going to be that bad. It's so homoerotic.
The end scene where it's like, you'll always be my wingman.
Yeah, and like even like the early stuff where like he goes like Goose goes to see Maverick at night, and Maverick's just like sitting up, like reading a book or something, and he like slips in through the door and like, are you awake? And like there's always like touching and feeling unnecessarily, and like there's like the now infamous volleyball scene.
Oh no,
which
yeah,
serves
Jesus Christ.
no purpose.
Jesus, it didn't,
other
did
than
it?
to be slightly homoerotic.
Just be like muscles.
I wonder if they were thinking he's either got to be thinking one or two things, right? He's putting that scene in because like he thinks like men like seeing like men being ripped and like it's part of like, the fantasy of it. Or he was trying to get like he knew how male focused this film was and was desperately trying to get a female audience in.
Maybe actually, yeah, that's an interesting point, Andy. Actually, yeah.
Because it serves no purpose. The favorite thing is that because he's playing volleyball with his friends, with his very very straight friends, honest, he misses the date. Or he doesn't miss the date, but she tells him like to get there at 6 o'clock sharp.
Yeah.
And he turns up. He's like, oh shit, I'm late, and like he hasn't showered either. And it's like, well, why did you why did you play volleyball for what seemed like hours? It's a montage. Like time is passing.
Yeah. Speaking of which, the relationship, I wasn't really sold on that either. And do you know what the funny thing is? Like, you know, in cinema, Tom Cruise is quite a small person, so they normally put him on like heels and stuff like that. She was ever slightly taller than him.
Yeah. I'm guessing that's like, this is where that complex started.
Yeah.
Because back then he didn't have the power to be like,
do you reckon?
Cast someone shorter.
Okay, so going into Tom Cruise, sorry, I just slated the film. There we go. Slating, do you enjoy that?
Like slating.
Tom Cruise, was this one of his first...
Just ignored. And as you're asking this question, I'm actually just heading over to IMDb so we can look at Tom Cruise's.
He's exceptionally young in this film. And, you know, it's not that he's bad at all. I thought he was really good. And I hope it's before he's kind of like, I'm not saying ego, I'm not saying he has an ego and stuff like this, that everyone...
If you search Tom Cruise on IMDb, the film that comes up like in brackets associated with him, Top Gun.
Well, so maybe it's like first appearance where everyone was like, shit, man, Tom Cruise can act. Much like we did the other session in the other session, where it's like, shit, man, he can act. What the fuck do we do?
Boyhood.
God knows. So yeah, it'd be nice to see if this... Oh God, I've just messed that up.
Good dinosaur.
It'd be good... Fuck, I forgot we did that, to be honest. No, it'd be good to see if this is one of his first things, because I didn't really have a problem with Tom Cruise. Didn't really have a problem, of him himself. It's more so like the way he was towards the women, to where he was towards the other lads. Like, I just don't know. The only time I felt it was like more kind of acting, but again cliche acting, was towards the end when after Goose died, which, you know, ironically I wasn't a huge fan of.
So this is about 5 years into his career. He did like little tiny things, and then he had done things like Risky Business and All the Right Moves before this.
Haven't seen them.
But like this, I guess, was him
really
going, starting to become like an action hero sort of thing.
Yeah. Well, you can kind of tell that because it's almost like Tom Cruise toned down, isn't it?
Yeah, but like I'm on board with you about not connecting with him as a character and not caring too much, because even like when he starts off trying to get the girl, and then he's cocky and confident, but you're like, okay, like what's this guy gonna like become? What's he gonna turn into? And then when he finds out that she's actually working at the Top Gun Academy, whatever it's called, when he finds out she's working there, he still like immediately undermines her. Like she comes in as this power
This really
figure.
doesn't help with the all women thing tomorrow, does it?
No, it doesn't. He undermines her, and then the whole thing is just about him kind of being. He has that power over with innate knowledge, doesn't he? Who just like is apparently intelligent and skilled, and he just smiles at things. Like, that's the extent of his character.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah.
And then she likes him for some reason, because occasionally he does like really shit
pickup
lines. You got any shit pickup lines for us this week?
It didn't work. Hi, my name's Andy, but you can call me tonight. Oh, that's my favourite one.
That's genuinely something he would come out with in this film. And
no, he would say, legs are the word of the day. Spread the word.
And then after he said that to her,
cheers, Alex.
She just kind of leaves, and he just kind of gets a little bit upset about it, but really he's more upset about Goose.
Yeah, man, just don't buy into it.
She comes back at the end for some reason. It's real shit.
Even the stuff about him and his dad, Like it picks up on that and it comes back to it later. It's almost like he puts like the little things in a film, like thinking about his dad. Well, his dad died in a crash and he fails to believe it's his fault. Then of course he's got the goose thing playing on his mind.
Oh yeah, and then he goes when he's leaving.
He goes
to his boss, who he has no relationship with. Like there's been no character building between the two of them, other than the fact that he apparently has a picture of his dad. Which, like, we get a shot of it, not knowing it's his dad. Then he says, "Oh yeah, flew with your father."
Yeah, but
then we never get to see the picture again.
He did say once before.
So we have no association with what this guy's dad looks like. Why we're supposed to care about him?
Well, there is actually a picture of Tom Cruise and his dad earlier on. Tom Cruise, Maverick.
That's a good point. His mum's in it as well, isn't it?
No, it's just them two in front of a plane or a helicopter.
So getting rid of all the women.
It's like those things, you know, like your knowledge this week isn't as good as like Man Submarine last week. I did see those shots, by the way.
It's so good.
I did see those shots.
I'm still waiting for you to send me the link to those shots.
Tosser.
Just give me the time code where those shots are.
I will do. Right. So a few other things about this. The sound.
Oh my god, the music. Can we take 1 second to while we're going to like sound as a whole? The music.
Class. So there's two songs.
Just like one of the best soundtracks ever.
Breath Away, obviously. Having like something the other day, I read something. It's like, what song do you suddenly associate with a film or actor? Take my breath away
to the danger zone. And like 3 times throughout the film.
It's fucking mid. No, the Breath Away, like cool, okay, I'll get that. But Danger Zone, shit, man, that's good.
So good.
It fits it fucking down to the ground.
Danger Zone. That's the thing that like tonally, I think it's why his films like stood the test of time, or like at least has got like a really strong following. That 80s music and that like 80s drenched Miami sunset sort of thing. Those two things together just had this fantasy for people who like really want to live that environment and that time period.
But even sound of the planes as well.
Yeah.
That was fucking awesome. Like again, air shows. That's the kind of sound you hear when it's going like the plane's going like that and it suddenly banks hard left. I'm right with that way. Hard left.
It was right to them. You could have kept going.
Hard left. The intensity and the roar of the engine, that's what was captured.
Yeah.
And it was whether or not they used the audio from the camera, I kind of doubt.
No way. That has to be done in post. It's too good to
but it's so good. It's so good. And what's really cool is when they change it to, it's like, I know this isn't set in space, but a lot of space films nowadays, even Star Wars, I'm sorry to say, when they do stuff like it's they're inside the cockpit, everything will be clean, but you can still you can hear how they're in the radios like that, or you can still see the outside sounds, but it's been dulled down because you're inside a cockpit. That was fucking superb. Like, well played to them. Well played.
Every time there was that shot in the cockpit where it's like just head on the pilot, I was just sitting there thinking stormtroopers. When you hope, they're sitting in little things.
The Russian ones, the MiGs with the things. They look like the shock troopers off Battlefront. The editing, though, I had a tiny bit of a problem. It wasn't too bad, but Kenai, Kenai.
Kenai Kwai.
Oh, God, he's so cringy. It's like worse than my chat-up lines. No, so the editing, when they're going through the planes in the scene, there was a couple of inconsistencies with the editing. I mean, the editing was really good. There was just a couple of inconsistencies. Yeah. And that was the F-14s. What they did is they had, I looked at it online, swept variable sweep wings. So what happens with this variable sweep wings is you have the aircraft, and sometimes you have it straight where the wings go like that, and sometimes swept where it goes back like that.
Right.
And part of the dogfights are a bit more towards a straight, and they're going like that. Then it switched to another shot of the plane, then the wings are back like that, then something go like that. A couple of inconsistencies, but it wasn't too bad.
I wonder if, because only about 12% that actually went into my head, but I wonder if that's the sort of stuff which made me feel like it was stock footage, because it does feel like here's a random clip of a plane, here's another random clip of a plane, you don't know if it's the same plane, here's another random clip of a plane.
But if it is stock footage, then he's done well to recreate those dogfights.
They must have shot that. They must have done. But so like I want to throw something past you actually, because for me those fight sequences where it is cutting between planes and people in rooms and talking and pilots saying things were some of the most dull parts of this film. How do you because you love this sort of stuff, so
right? Did
you enjoy it?
What the back and forth and the
it's just like there's a plane that banks, and then like there's a guy in a room that says something about it.
I'm not a huge fan of it's again, but Top Gun could potentially do it first. You see films nowadays, and it's like when he goes past the tower and it goes, God damn it, like that.
That's a wonderful scene. That
when he goes past.
Yeah.
See, that's used so many times nowadays. Maybe
Yeah.
they're drawing the influence of Top Gun, you never know. But the whole, like, you know, they're in the cockpit and going back to the people on the ground, it's so war film.
Yeah.
Even though it's not really a
But
war
like,
film the slightest.
it's also war film with the war removed because they're not actually like firing missiles at each
But
other.
this is what I liked about
They're
it.
pretending to.
I liked about this. The amount of times that films fictionalise this war scenario like this, and this was like, no, you encounter a couple of MiGs in these areas. You like the first fight, for example. They're not firing; it's just trying to scare them away. That was class because that would actually probably happen. He's like, give him the finger and the Polaroid. That was cool.
That's weird. Mixing in all this like realism with total non-realism.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's an interesting.
But
blend.
then at the end, you know, they get shot down, they kill the MiGs, and I was like, oh, again, that probably wouldn't happen because it'd escalate into World War III. Or the Cold War as it was, because it was probably its peak or ending the Cold War. When did the Cold War end? It was the 80s, wasn't it?
23.
Oh, for fuck's sake, why do you do this? Now, at the end, you know, Iceman said, you'll always be my wingman.
Yeah.
They pissed me off because it looked like everyone behind him was green screened.
Did you? I didn't notice actually.
If you can get down there, it looks so fake. It looks so fake.
I'll put it down there if it exists.
It just, what do you do it? This exists, thank you. You probably will now.
Yeah,
So,
the whole. What I did really appreciate actually was the relationship with Iceman. I want to like get again wrapping this up a little bit, but the fact that he starts out and you think he's just going to be like he's going to be the guy he has to beat for the Top Gun title. Then Goose's death changes everything, and then suddenly he goes and he says like, "Look, I'm sorry about Goose,"
I quite like that.
and he walks away. The next time he sees him.
Is it the graduation?
He's at the graduation actually, yeah, and he goes and says like congratulations, which is really nice.
But then he fucks off straight away.
But then when they go for that job, and he goes up to the guy leading them, the bald guy, and says, "Look, it's nothing personal, but can someone else watch my back?"
Yeah.
Because obviously Maverick has been pretty shit for the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, yeah.
And then like that, so he's still they're not friends. He's not fully supporting him at that point, but he is better with him.
Yeah.
And then
more tolerable.
Yeah, finally at the end, that's when like everything's sealed. That is their relationship hitting that arc. I thought it was quite good.
It's a mixed bag, like you said earlier. So I realize now, looking back on it, maybe there's a bit more to it that was like, but it's about time we had something like that.
Yeah, true.
About time we had something that.
Now, since you ripped the intro away, do you want to take the outro?
No.
So thank you very much for listening this week, guys. If you'd like to get in touch with us and let us know what you thought of Top Gear, you can do so.
Top Gun. Fucking rookie error.
What was it?
Let us know in the comments below.
This is why I asked you to do the outro.
Because you're shit.
I knew
Next
I was going
week,
to fuck it up.
in probably about half an hour's time.
No. Next week, we're getting back together wearing the same clothes.
Yeah.
And we're going to talk about Fantastic Mr. Fox.
By Wes Anderson.
Well, actually, now I'm thinking about it, what a fucking weird change. Top Gun to Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Thank you very much.